You're interested in RC, you want to get airborne, and you have no idea what happens at a flying field. Perfect. Let's go. A visit to any flying field will most likely require a small bit of travel. I suggest you make the most of it by packing a bag of your favorite snacks, grabbing some drinks, and enjoying the scenery as you head out. Oh yeah, in some cases you may end up doing a little off-road driving in order to arrive at your destination. This is often the case because flying fields are typically tucked away from major roadways and dense populations. Most flying field locations are actually privately owned property, so in a lot of cases you're going to run into this when you come into the flying field, the gate. Now that doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be locked out, it just means that there's a good potential that on any given day it may be locked because only members are going to have access to unlock that gate. Don't worry too much about the gates being locked because if the weather's nice, there's almost always someone at the flying field. When you show up to a flying field, you'll notice there's probably two separate areas where you can hang out. One is actually the flying field, which is directly behind me, and the other area is usually a visitor's area or a place where you can hang out and camp for the afternoon. And that's usually divided by a fence, and the reason is simple. It's for your safety. Stay behind the visitor fence when you first arrive, but don't be too afraid to introduce yourself. I honestly don't know of any pilot who doesn't want to talk shop. And in many cases, they'll invite you over to take a closer look at the aircraft, and this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions. So some people ask, when is the best time to actually get out to the flying field? And I'll be honest with you, the best time is really going to be a Saturday and a Sunday when the weather's really nice, the winds are low, and it looks like there's not going to be any rain. You're going to see an awful lot of people out here. As a matter of fact, today, it's probably anywhere between 20 and 30 people, and I'm sure you can probably hear behind me all the stuff that's happening. There we go. Down a little bit. Now behind me is approximately 500 feet of runway, which is actually pretty standard for a lot of flying fields that you'll find out there. Now this one only has grass. Some of the other ones you'll find out there may have like a paved surface, or some of them actually lay down a fabric for their main runway. Now the size flying field that we have here in Maryland accommodates for a multitude of different size aircraft. So you'll see everything flying out here from free flight to gliders to quarter scale, half scale, and we've got plenty of space even for turbines. With every flying field, there's going to be rules, specifically where you fly and how you fly. Right now, I'm a little bit further out onto the flying field, and you'll see these boxes behind me, and those are actually called the flight boxes. Now, we have 4 of them here. What that means is there can be 4 pilots flying at any one point in time. If you stand behind the flight boxes, everything back behind that space is what's considered a no-fly zone. It's exactly what it sounds like. You can only taxi out, and you can do everything behind as far as maintenance so long as it's on the ground. Anything further forward, that's your flying space. One of the other things you might notice when you're out of a flying field is that the planes are always usually going in a particular direction. And what I mean by that is they're either usually flying left to right or right to left. That's what's called a pattern. Each pilot will actually set the pattern depending on who gets up in the air first. And after that, every pilot will follow suit. At any one point in time, they can switch that pattern up. But the key thing is that you always want to fly in a pattern to avoid collisions. Inevitably, nature's going to call. And thankfully, every flying field has got one of these. Cam, give me a sec. If you want to get up close and personal, be sure to visit the FBO, Fixed Base Operations. Borrowed from Full Scale, it's really just a fancy name for the main building at the flying field.
That's awesome.
Even if there isn't a main building, there's often a location at the field where the pilots will gather, set up for the day, perform maintenance, talk shop, and just hang out. This is where you'll get the chance to get up close and personal with them, check out their gear, and you'll most certainly get inundated with advice. I think you'd be surprised at just how much goes on here. There's just something contagious about people's passion for flight at the flying field. So if you're curious, heck, even if you're bored, stop on out, sit down, take a deep breath, take it all in, and enjoy.